Hello to all. My name is Prateek Gupta and I'm here to present to you my understanding of the TED Talk by Dan Pink on the puzzle of motivation. Basically, the crux of the idea presented by him is that there exists a mismatch between what business does and what science knows. He tells us that the famous notion of carrot and sticks dictating how we conduct our business today is beneficial only in a very narrow band of circumstances. Instead, they often destroy creativity and hamper worker engagement in tasks which require cognitive and creative skills. He says that the real way to strengthen our business is to spark among the employees the unseen intrinsic drive to do things cause they matter. He says that there are two types of motivators, intrinsic and extrinsic. Put simply, intrinsic motivation refers to the behavior that is driven by internal rewards. That is, the motivation arises from within the individual because it is naturally satisfying to you. This contrasts with extrinsic motivation, which involves external rewards or avoid punishments. Now let me extend this by my own experience as a former mining contractor. We used to reward truck drivers if they made extra trips above the predefined trips of 3 per shift by attaching a monetary value to each extra trip they did. The result was as expected. It led to higher worker engagement, more profits and better completion rates. Now again, this happened because of the narrow-minded focus required to do a mechanical job. It did not require them to solve any problems using cognitive ability, and hence it led to better results. What Mr. Dan says is true, and I wholeheartedly agree with him because we know it ourselves that bonus works for mechanical work which require routine and rule-based work. For real problem solving, we need to look in the periphery, using creative and conceptual abilities with unclear rules and no idea about the solution, which require effort from within, and bonuses aren't structured that way to provide us with this motivation. Too many businesses that are making their policies about people today are using extrinsic motivators instead of intrinsic motivators, and this has led to declining productivity. Now, intrinsic motivators have been adopted by huge firms like Google by its 20% time initiative, Microsoft by a work-life choice challenge which it adopted in Japan, which led to an increase in productivity of 40%. Now, not only this, but the governments now are also following this trend. Recently, Denmark started granting 3-day weekends, with Finland soon to follow with a 6-hour working day, 4 days a week. All this is backed by science. This kind of work schedule makes people their own bosses and thus yearns them to do their job in service of something larger than themselves. And that's the reason I chose this video, because all the countries I mentioned above are developed countries. With such a strong force in India, it is important that the business as well as the government itself roots its policies based on established sciences which will be beneficial to all the parties involved, so that the work doesn't seem work anymore and everyone is happy. In this century, work requires constant engagement, and as such, self-direction works better. It is the time that companies realize that a great employee experience is essential to drive a great customer experience and of course productivity and innovation. True flexibility not only provides workers with job satisfaction, improved work-life balance, less stress, they also benefit employers. Higher productivity levels, low turnover and reduced absenteeism helps employers retain top-notch talent and save money too. Creating a sustainable business practice and higher productivity is likely to become more critical for businesses in the future. Moving forward, work will not all be about quantity, but rather about efficiency and flexibility. Businesses will have to be focused on results and outcomes and will have to allow employees to work in a way that suits them the most without compromising on productivity. In the end, businesses will always benefit from higher productivity, and with my focus on India, moving in this direction will help us huge rewards, which will help us in gaining huge rewards. This is Prateek Gupta signing off.